going, guys? So back at it again, straight after our off-roading vlog, because I finally detected one thing that went wrong on that trip. I'm gonna bring you down here, show you it all, and see if you can figure out what's missing. Yeah, this bolt. Yeah, on my drive home from wheeling at Glasshouse, I had to put on the brake, and I don't know how to describe it, but like it just, I could tell it was the caliper as soon as I put my foot down. I could tell what side it was coming from. So the plan is, at lunchtime, I'm gonna go to the bolt shop, grab a longer bolt for that. And if you actually come down here, while I've had it all apart, I decided to test fit my handbrake bracket. And you can see it's lining up, it's fitting really well. And I've actually gone and tested it, and it's working. So I'm really happy. I'm gonna take care of that. I'm gonna run over every little thing on the car that I've touched since taking it off-road, make sure it's all sweet, make sure there are no other loose bolts, thread locker everything that I feel like needs thread lockering, which is every single bolt on that disc setup. And then, yeah, I'll give it a good clean, and so we'll go from there. I've gone ahead and put my thread locker on, and that stainless steel one up there was 25 mil, so I had to chop that down so it didn't risk scratching up the rotor, especially as the pads wore down. So annoyingly, every piece of hardware I source from the bolt shop is like 2 socket sizes larger, so I'm always using weird abnormal fucking wrench sizes to what you'd expect, like a 16 mil, where the other bolt I have, the flange bolt here, is a fucking 14. Oh, I don't know, it's like 4 p.m. I waited most of the day to come back down here after getting the brake all mounted back up with the thread locker, because it's just too hot. Summer in Queensland is really rough. I've been down here for maybe 15 minutes, I'm sweating like a bitch. Anyway, I've just gone ahead, I don't know if you can see that there, I've just gone ahead and gotten my extended bolt, so when I get my handbrake brackets back again during the week, that'll just be ready to go. I just got to swap that out, pull that out, pop the bracket on and put it right back in. And yeah, I'm just gonna go back and reconnect my shock, because I've probably got to do some driving this weekend. So I'm just on the car again, looking at things after my Glasshouse trip. You know, that was very much the shakedown of this vehicle, and I don't know if you can tell, but my sway bar link is missing in this side. That came out somewhere between washing the car and driving home. It was in there when I was washing the car. I was very certain of that, so that sucks. But I didn't notice it came out until I looked under the car. So I'm pulling my sway bar out, because it turns out I don't need it. Yeah, as you can see, one side stayed in perfectly fine, doesn't come loose at all. But yeah, it just kind of sucks, because these were my hard race sway links. They cost like $100. I actually really liked them. But I only really got them because I was worried about my CV angle and my CV boot splitting. And I thought they did from day one of replacing the boot, but it turns out, no, they're actually fucking awesome. I thought a 1-inch drop was going to be pretty modest and still leave me with a little bit of an axle angle. And like, don't get me wrong, there's still a bit of an axle angle, but I'm not splitting boots, which means it's not even close to breaking axles. And that's with one side of my sway bar not even connected, so yeah, that's awesome. That's a really, really, really positive note for this shakedown, that my subframe drop is working as I wanted it to do. One pretty big backfire about my subframe drop though is, I think when I bottomed out in that mud at Glasshouse, it bottomed out at the carrier, because that's dinted in, and I don't know if you can tell, but that's on a really bad angle. That's the carrier bearing like puffing out of the casing, like it's sitting on a really bad angle there. So yeah, not great. I'm going to have to plate those mounts, so I'm gonna have to pull my drive shaft out to do that. For now, I'm just gonna finish pulling this sway bar out, disconnect that link. Now that I'm gonna have to get with a wrench. In the interest of not climbing back under my car, I got a 12, 14 and a 16. It's a 14. That's definitely a 14. Alright. See, the concerning thing is, right, that it came out both top and bottom of the sway bar. I don't know how that could happen when this one stayed in. Like, clearly I did it right on this end because this has stayed nicely locked, but the other side, both these nuts came out, unless the bolts sheared off, which is even more concerning, but I don't know what to think. In any case, let's get the sway bar out. I see what you're doing. No. For a while now, my steering rack has been pretty loose. I ordered some new mount bushers and everything for it off eBay a good few months ago, but went to put them in, didn't fit, so that's a bit shit. What actually happened to cause my rack end to come out like that was because the rack had so much play, it just eventually just stripped the thread off the rack end and the rack itself. So what I've done, I've gone ahead and gone to Boss Rack and got a replacement rack. It was about $160. Thankfully it's not leaking, so I don't need to get it reconditioned, but it does need new bushers. So on top of that, I took the opportunity to replace the rack ends and the tie rods. It's a bit unfortunate. I wish I didn't have to replace the rack ends because other than being stripped, they were solid as a rock. Honestly, they seemed like they were straight off the shelf. They were pristine. So road safe brand are fucking excellent. So I've gone ahead and got new rack ends and new tie rods. I am still getting some steering vibration, so I suppose I need to get a wheel balance to make sure that's all it is. I did go off-road and had mud flinging around in my wheels, so that balance would be all out. So just another thing I've actually had to come down and do. Down here at my rear passenger side camber arm, this nut here, every time I've driven the car, after retightening it, has come loose. After 3 alignments now, after every install and after every drive, I go back down, check it, and it's loose again. So I don't know what the fuck's going on there. Bit concerning. What I've gone and done though is I've just thread locked the shit out of it. Not coming loose. I've done a bit of driving, hasn't come loose, so pretty confident there. It has come loose once or twice on this side, so I thread locked this side too. The last thing that I found that I need to fix, that I actually don't need to spend any money to fix, aside from an alignment. I've been mentioning my bump steer and my camera angle and everything. You can see how my arm is sitting right now with the 1-inch subframe drop and roughly 3 inches of lift up the front here. So when you're over that 3-inch lift mark, when you're running a subframe drop, what everyone recommends to do is flip your camber arms up the front. So if you've got these adjustable hard race or true height arms, you can actually flip them. Now if you're wondering how that actually works to help it all, if you look at the mounting plate where the ball joint sort of attaches to the arm, and look how it's sitting above the tube here. Well, this tube is about 1 inch thick. So imagine that you're just essentially relocating this plate to underneath. So you're getting about 1 inch extension out of your arm here, putting this closer to there, meaning you're able to dial in your camber a bit better and you're putting less strain on your ball joints. Now, I will mention, this is only for if you're running a subframe drop. The important thing there is to remember that because it's a wishbone style suspension, this needs to arc the same way that this lower arm does. So at a certain point, at a certain subframe drop or a certain lift, it won't work anymore with just flipping the arm. And if you're not running a subframe drop, do not flip the arm because it will also be fighting against the lower arm. Just coming over to the other side of the front of my suspension here. This is one of the things that I've been hearing as I drive. So you can clearly hear there's a bit of noise coming from these. And that's obviously exacerbated the more you drive. So I gotta flip those, but I'm gonna do it when I can afford to get an alignment. And that's not until later in the week. So today, finally getting to the point, today what we're doing is we're cleaning out, emptying the car. I've got all this stuff rattling around. I'm only going to leave stuff in here that needs to be in here because I just cannot pinpoint what sounds on my suspension, what's rattling around, what's in the car, what's outside of the car, what's on the car. So this is all coming out, and the only stuff that needs to stay in is staying in, and then hopefully I can figure out if anything else is fucked with my car. I got my mud flaps that I ordered off eBay. They're a bit shorter. I probably should have gone the 14-inch ones because they'd be able to mount there and still drop down low enough, but whatever. I actually really like how wide these are because they probably gonna cover the whole tire. So what I'm gonna do is, this bit's in my way. I got my snips. I'm gonna cut it off. Hopefully it doesn't look shit. We'll see. Just down here in the garage now, I've set up some lights because it's a bit dark. You can see my engine bay is all dirty. It's actually because there was a pile of mud, and when I was cleaning it, there's no mud in the engine bay. I checked after I went off road, it was spotless, and then I would have clipped it with the high pressure and it's just sprayed it all over my engine bay. Anyway, as you can see, I've gone ahead and disconnected the battery. I want to go ahead and pull this disgusting mess of cabling out. Let's get a better light in there. Look at that, that's hideous. I got this fuse block in there that I've had. Cheap little piece of shit. You can see it's corroding itself. Just all around fucking garbage unit. So I'm gonna pull that out, run a better one when I do it inside the back of the cab. Yeah, so I guess it's pretty safe to assume that has some contact corrosion. Explains a lot of my issues. Now I need to go ahead and start pulling all this crap out. Look at, oh, there's just so much. It's gonna take me all night. Alright, so I've gone and stripped out all the wiring for what was the roof light. So that's this crap here, and what's already in there as well was the power lead for it. What I've gone ahead and done is I've just sort of tidied up the wiring. All I've got to do now is run this over to that side for the fog light grill. There's one down here, run for it, running off the same harness. Then 2 thin power leads to the battery for that. In the cab of the vehicle, you can sort of see what I've pulled through. So this was the extension I used to run to the roof because obviously the harness wasn't long enough. I'm going to keep that in there just in case I decide to run anything else this way, and obviously it's not attached to anything, so there's no harm in leaving it. You know what, I figure while I'm down here, there's a couple of things I need to get out of the way. One, I need to get this annoying ass lead here out of the way, because I'm always tapping on it with my foot. I'm just going to zip tie it to here, and then I'm also going to pull this one out of the way, tuck it behind the accelerator pedal. Alright, that pretty much does us for tonight. I need to go get some sleep. So we're just going to do a quick highway run, 1 exit long, just to show you how this thing's driving on the highway. So getting to about 80 now, and I'm starting to get the steering vibrations. You can see the wheels moving quite a bit. So we're at 100 kilometers an hour. I don't know if you can tell how much the wheel is shaking, but quite a bit. I'm just gonna roll up to a stop here for a second. So another thing I wanted to show you is, oh, you can really hear that creaking there. Yeah, not great. So you might see these tools out, specifically this, and think, why did I have to take the wheel off? Well, I got my handbrake on now, and it's actually on. It's only on the one side. So 1 and 2, they're both in. You can probably see that hell of a kink in the cable, but it is working. This is only on the handbrake. It's not sitting in gear. You can see the handbrake's on. Now it's not fully tight. I think I'm going to re-bleed the brakes. Hopefully that's it. Otherwise it'd be the angle of the cable just kinking a little bit and not being able to pull fully down. But yeah, for now, I've got the car in neutral. It's parked on a weird thing that it absolutely rolls back on when the handbrake doesn't work, so mint. It's worth noting, I cannot park on that hill. It slowly but surely rolls down. Another thing is I haven't really filmed while I've been doing a lot of this stuff because I've been a bit shit for time this week. So if you look down here, this looks a bit different to the last time we were here. Ignore this fucking snapped bolt head and just look at the angle of that ball joint. Look how much clearance it has on the strut. So I've done a bit of driving from getting them flipped. Now the reason I needed to go ahead and flip those arms is, number one, you can see that that upper control arm is sitting fantastically now. Before it was pretty much maxed out sitting still, and it was causing all sort of like camber steer and bump steer on the road, maxing out, making my tires point in. It was just pulling me all over the place. So I have done some driving with those in. I only eyeballed the camber to get it right, to test it out. So it's not aligned properly, but I can say for the first time since getting it back on the road from that big break I had where we were sitting on stands for about 8 months, it's driving straight. That said, I still do need to get an alignment, and I need to get a wheel balance done because at highway speeds, shaking like a motherfucker, and there's no other reason. I do still need to come down here and do my steering rack mount bush. The good thing is that I have driven it, I've tested it, and it's no longer making the squeaking and creaking noises up front that it was. It's no longer knocking into the strut, no longer making any weird bad noises up front. Alrighty guys, so that'll do us for this one. I've gone ahead and gone to the alignment shop, the same one I got to last time. Great news, front alignment's looking great. As soon as they saw the car, they were like, holy crap, it looks so much better than last time. So that was a pretty good feeling considering last time I was in not the greatest shape, but it was after it was back on the road. Anyway, all that sorted up front, I'm pretty happy about that. The rear, however, not looking so great. For the most part it's okay, but I'm towing out 8mm on one side and 4mm on the other. Which is also causing bushing angles to be weird, especially with my upper rear camber arm. So I don't like that. It's making similar sort of creaking noises to the front end, so do need to correct that. The only annoying thing there is the adjustable arms you can get from True Heart, Hard Race and all that aren't shorter, so I can't correct that. So what people have done is like cut them shorter, but I've contacted Hard Race. I'm hoping that maybe they can manufacture some that are 10mm shorter that can adjust longer, obviously, but to correct for the lifted application, that would be the method. So I've contacted them. They said it's possible, but I haven't heard back since, so we'll just have to see what happens there. What I noticed on the drive home, however, is because it's towing out when the oil drive kicks in, which you can kind of temper, it will change the steering direction because obviously the alignment is out, it's going to force it straight, which if your wheels are turning, no matter what, it's gonna fight against your front steering. So I can already tell by the smell and the squealing that my front tires are gonna wear out prematurely until I get that rear toe sorted. So that kind of sucks. These tires are secondhand but new, but it's okay because I want to go to 31s, you know, within the next 8,000k or so anyway. So I'll have the toe on them hopefully before they wear bald, but we'll just have to see how we go. Anyway, with the alignment done now, I do want to sort of see how it's like driving and moving, and with that handbrake in, it's gonna rain. I can tell there's gonna be some cine shots to get at the local little hill that I tested when I first got the car back on the road, so I'm gonna head there and then we're gonna close things out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.